Battlefield 6's release is one of the most unique game releases in gaming history, and nobody expected it to go this way, not even the hardcore Battlefield veterans. See, in a world where it seems that all AAA game studios only make casinos disguised as games, it seems weird that DICE and EA, out of all of them, would be the ones to do something right. When do you see a modern game launch without a store page? When do you see a modern game launch without a battle pass? You never do until now. But it's not just Battlefield 6 that these decisions from EA and DICE has affected. They are directly forcing other studios to change their ways if they want to keep up. And this is something we haven't seen or experienced in years. And it is truly a very, very important moment for the future of gaming. And together, you and I are going to figure out exactly why that is. Let's get into it. So let's start from the beginning. After Battlefield 2042 had its, let's say, questionable launch, a lot of people gave up on the game, and some even the entire franchise. Understandably so. But the chances are you've already heard about the 2042 disaster a million times, so let's just keep it super short. A trillion million bugs, bad weapon balancing, weird bloom for all the weapons, overpowered gadgets, flying hovercraft, blah 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 blah. You know, all that stuff. It kind of just felt like a rip-off Battlefield game made by a studio of like 10 people or something. But it is important to give context, because this whole mess left EA with two choices. They could do what Call of Duty is doing and has been doing for years, which is make the same soulless game, the same reskinned of the previous game that is just playable enough for you to brainlessly play for hours and hours, and just enough fun for you to want to buy skins. You know, minimum effort, maximum revenue, right? That's the name of the game. Or they could take a hard, long look at themselves and their game and choose to please the players that have been funding their entire company for years on end. And incredibly enough, they have picked the second option. They stopped focusing on microtransactions. They stopped trying to force SPMM into lobbies to keep the newbies playing for longer, because they suddenly think they now are a FaZe member because they're getting 70 kills on people who's never touched a video game before. They didn't listen to streamers that wanted a ranked mode and score streaks and I don't know, all these crazy things. No, they listened to their players, as they should. I have played Battlefield 6 for about just 5 hours now. It is literally 5 AM at the time of recording this video, because I am so incredibly excited for this game. And the amount of details and effort I can feel has been put into this game is insane. If you compare it to Black Ops 6, which felt so, I don't even know, weird. It just felt like the entire game was made with ChatGPT, and all the art was AI. Some voice actors was even fired because they didn't want to have their voices stopped by AI. The maps were so bland and had no thoughts or atmosphere or history behind them. It was just spawn, die, in camo grind simulator over and over and over and over again. But Battlefield 6 has brought back this feeling of, holy shit, I am at war, and there's a million of things that are exploding, and I hear a jet, and I hear a helicopter, and there's a tank looking me in the face, and there's a guy on a roof shooting rocket launchers at me. When I'm sitting there with my squad in a house and I am getting hammered by a tank, I feel like I'm Desmond from Hacksaw Ridge, and I'm just reviving 70 people, hearing soldiers scream, the building is falling apart, the jets are flying over my head at Mach 3, rocket launchers being fired directly at me. I'm literally about to get actual PTSD from this game, because that is how goddamn good this game is. You simply just won't be able to recreate a moment like that in another game. It has the perfect balance between realistic war military shooter, and it's also still a game, so you can jump and shoot a rocket launcher at the same time. It feels realistic, but it plays like a game in the best way possible. And I want to go a little more in depth with this, because I know how much effort has been put into this game, and it only feels right to take a look at everything they have done. And I want to start with one of the most noticeable things: the maps. Right now in Battlefield 6, there is currently 9 maps. Siege of Cairo, Iberian Offensive, Liberation Peak, Empire State, Operation Firestorm, Saints Quarter, New Sobek City, Mirag Valley, and Manhattan Bridge. And each and every one of these maps has their very own atmosphere. I have never once doubted what map I am on. They are very distinctive and I want to give them credit for that. Not all of them I am a huge fan of, but they are unique and they don't seem sloppy or badly designed. They all also play to very different playstyles, which I think is a very good thing. If all the maps were made for snipers, you'd probably only play sniper and you'd get bored of the game very fast. Almost no one plays sniper of Siege of Cairo or Iberian Offensive, but there's a lot of them on Operation Firestorm and, as we know, Liberation Peak. This is how Battlefield games have been previously, and I am very happy that DICE and EA realized this and put some thought into the maps. And now on the size aspect, that has already been discussed a lot. Some say they are fine as they are, some say they are too small, and then there's the Call of Duty players who says, well, they're actually way too big. But let's just ignore those completely. I personally think that they're a tad too small. I miss the really big maps where you didn't even have a clue what was going on the other side of the map. And also where there was so much variety in a single map that it could feel like different maps. There was this one map from Battlefield 1 that was located in the Italian Alps, in the Dolomites Mountains, and one half of the map was like completely just mountains and bunkers under the mountains, and the other half was like 600 meters away. It was just like a small village at the bottom of a valley. It felt like an actual real place, which it is, and it helped you feel like you were in a real war and you were making real progress through a battlefield. And I hope that the next few maps that they're going to release will be a little bit bigger with some larger scale warfare. I am getting a little bit tired of not being able to fly a helicopter because their anti-air tank can see me anywhere on the map because they're so small. But on the other hand, the maps that are meant to be compact, like Iberian Offensive and Saints Quarter, Siege of Cairo, and Empire State, I think have made very good use of vertical space so they don't feel too cramped. There's usually a lot of floors in the buildings and the map usually goes downhill or something like that, so you have some form of verticality, which I think is really good. The important thing here is just that you understand the map and then you pick an appropriate class and appropriate loadout for that map. And Call of Duty could learn some from this, because I don't think we've had a Call of Duty map with more than 2 stories in a building in like 5 years. Right? The skybox is literally like 8 meters high. Like something like... It's so dumb, bro. It's so dumb. Give us some verticality back in Call of Duty, please. Anyway, this video is about Battlefield. The most important thing about the maps, in my opinion, is that finally they actually look like battlefields. They look like the places are at war. There are exploded cars and military trucks. There are sandbags and trenches, barbed wired strongholds, police cars making barricades, buildings on fire, rubble, destroyed structures everywhere. Battlefield 2042 had none of this, bro. It looked like the city has just been built in Battlefield 2042. Like it was like new. Nothing was broken. All the cars were like completely fine. You could even drive some of them, you know what I mean? And that is something that the community spoke up against a lot, and they have definitely listened to that feedback and put a ton of effort into making it right again. Props for that. Coming over to progressions and weapons now, I think that they have taken a step in the right direction, but this is a topic that is very subjective and everyone has their own different opinion on this. Now, my personal opinion is that I like that I only have unlocked a couple of weapons after 5 to 6 hours of gameplay. I like that I have to level up in order to do certain challenges and missions. I like that it takes time and effort to unlock things because that gives it meaning. And that's not to say that I can just sit and play games all day, so that's why I think it's fine. I have a full-time job on the side, you know, I don't have a lot of hours to play games. But I think that it's important to have something to do for a longer period of time, otherwise you're just gonna do it all on day one and it's over. I don't want the focus of the game to be the unlocks. I want the unlocks to be just the result of me having fun in the game. If you could do all of these challenges and missions from the get-go and just be done with them on day one and just have like a challenge camo grind simulator like another game, the focus is no longer on the gameplay or the game itself, just the full sense of progression and achievement. There is, for example, this one mission in Battlefield 6 where you have to get 50 road kills, and many people will see this challenge and think, what? That sucks. I can't do that in a single game at all. I'll have to play for so long. Yeah, exactly, man. That's the point. You're not meant to do all the challenges on day one. They're gonna be there forever. You don't have to stress about it. When you're in a car or an ATV and you see someone, just take that opportunity to make a bit of progress on the challenge, right? And you'll find yourself having fun with the challenges instead of keeping them as the focus. They're a side mission, not your main objective. I cannot speak a whole lot on all of the weapons since I'm still literally only level 14 and have not unlocked a lot of them yet. But the ones I have played with, I really find satisfying to play with. as you can see in this background footage, and especially the LMG, which I will show you a very sick clip of right here. Alright, moving on to the movement. After the first weekend of beta, there was a lot of discussion whether or not the movement should be toned down. To understand why it was so fast, we have to realize that the smart move as a business is to take your competitors' customers. And if you want the customers that buys Call of Duty games, you need to sell something that looks like Quake. You know what I'm saying? And that was way too fast for a Battlefield game. And we all saw that in the beta. And maybe it still is too fast, but it was toned down a lot, and I think it is very easily noticeable. You can no longer aim very precisely when you jump and slide and all that stuff, and the movement is just generally slower. The parachute mega glide thing was also nerfed. It's a bit more normal now than before. Overall, W movement changes. In my opinion, it could be a little bit slower even. Now moving on to vehicles. They changed up a bit here too, following player feedback. Helicopters has been buffed a little bit. I feel like the handling is a bit more stable as well. In the beta, I would always find myself losing control like super fast, so that's a really good tweak. Tanks have been buffed slightly. Your barrel will be able to turn faster now. It was a bit too slow before, I think. Like, it took a long time to just turn around, so that's good. Now, something that I think they should change more is the cars and ATVs, man. These things are slippery, like they're on ice. Look at this clip. I have zero control of what is happening right here. This need to be toned down a little bit, okay? I cannot control these. Maybe I'm just really bad at driving. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. And there is one thing that they have to rework completely, and that is this ass menu, bro. What is this? Multiplayer is second to last. Why? Who made this, bro? Who made this? Who looked at this and thought, yeah, that's pretty user-intuitive. Hello? Why is bulletin on the first page? I don't care about the bulletin, man. I'm here to fight a war. I'm not here to read newspapers, bro. And if I really cared about the bulletin, I would go and find it. I can't use the scroll wheel, probably. It's hard to find the things. It's just confusing, man. It's just confusing. Make this more simple. Make this way more simple. Go back to how it was in Battlefield 1 and 5 and 4 and like every single other game than this, man. Like, go back from this. This menu is ass, honestly. The menu for the customization for the weapons and stuff, I think that's fine, but the menu is ass. Now, player positivity. I want to talk about this a little bit, because if you remember, like 6 months ago or something like that, people was on this train of just saying, remember no pre-orders, remember no pre-orders. If you pre-order, you're stupid or whatever, right? And that just turned around to people being like, Call of Duty is the best advertisement for Battlefield 6. Like, that's kind of crazy that is what it turned into, right? But that is what happens when a studio listens to its goddamn community, bro. We're the ones who's buying your games. We know what the game needs to be good. Why won't you listen, right? That's what we all think. But overall, people are extremely happy about the release. And it truly shows that Battlefield 6 has returned to its roots and what made people love Battlefield in the first place. But also introducing new things, which I think is essential to launching a game, because otherwise people would just be mad that you're making the same game again and again and again. Call of Duty. And do not only take my word for it. A minimum of $70 game hitting 750,000 concurrent players off a rip is mind-blowing to me. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is only on Steam. Do you guys understand how many people that is? That is absolutely incredible. And it is truly proof that Battlefield has genuinely realized that making a good game is what will keep your players and customers happy and online. So guys, I want to leave you all with this. Raging because you are being matched against the literal FaZe clan is over. Playing unfinished games are over. Dealing with AI-generated art and maps are over. Update requires restart is over. Battlefield is back, and I am so happy that I don't even want to think about anything else right now, because for once I am genuinely just enjoying playing a game and not feeling like I am playing another soulless glorified web shop. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.